What's up? What's up? What's up? Welcome back to Healthy Spaces, Healthy Places, episode
What's
2 of the
good?
podcast. What's good? What's good, Omar? How you doing? How you
What's
doing?
going on? We're living, man. That's how we're living. We're surviving. We're
Well,
thriving.
have you seen my boxes over here? Shoot, we barely thriving over here.
Man still has a. You still have the mattress boxes in there, right? Or
Man, I
does it
still got
walk
the
away?
mattress boxes. I got the boxes to the boxes. I got so much stuff I still need to unpack. I haven't
I
had
see
it.
like a half eaten bread in the back or
Hey yo,
something.
chill out.
You
That's
guys
some
go.
loaf of bread. That's a loaf of bread right there. Chill out. We ain't finna do that. Like you ain't finna call me dirty in my apartment. Shoot. But nah, so just for everyone's notice and all the stuff we read the podcast. So I did a little move. I gonna tell you exactly where I'm at right now, but doing a little move to well, I just like do an educational opportunity in my last semester in grad school. Currently working for the state legislature, so pretty much just trying to get adjusted, get in the motion of that. So
And
definitely.
before let me just cut him off real quick, just before
Mhm.
we go on, because he's just talk about it like it's nothing. But he's doing such great work. And he's a great person. He's a hard worker, and he's really built for what he's doing. Uh, and he's just such he cares and he's worth it. So I just want to put that out there before he's gonna be like, yo, I moved here and I'm just doing that, and so I'm just trying to get through it. I'm gonna lock in. Just sit in the moment. We're just gonna acknowledge that moment that he's really working hard and he's made for the career he's doing. I just want to put that out there.
Well, thank you, bro. Shoot, I need that this week, man. It's rough because a lot of people don't understand with the legislature, they meet every 2 years as opposed to most states, they meet every year to do business. So it's like this mad dash in 140 days to do business. Like literally, it's more so we get about over 1,000 bills filed. Not every bill gets to go to committee or get pushed out of committee and stuff. So it's more so this mad dash in 140 days. And so just doing all that on top of school, it's going to be rough, but I'm excited for it. I got my little business cards right here, to,
Okay.
me being a student, whatever. But yeah, I'm blessed to be here, do this my last semester because I was like, not much was going on for me at school. And so just pretty much just trying to get some balance and, get some more experience. So it's gonna be good. It's gonna be a good semester, I think. But yeah, how you doing, Omar? How the start of school for you this year?
Man. So I guess we can. It's kind of like a mini check in, right?
Yeah.
I'm sure I'll kind of branch off to other things, but and then you can like talk more if you want to. But man, it's been a very confusing time, and I think you can kind of like attest to that too. I mean, I've been okay. I've been feeling all right within like the context of everything that's going on in America in
We're
the
gonna get
world.
into that. We're gonna get into that.
But I mean, yeah, school is starting off well. I'm only taking one class because that's the class I have to graduate just one. I'm still working full time as like a community counselor and advocate. I go to class after, so it can get pretty tiring. Uh, had a couple PhD interviews this week
Oh,
or
dope,
this
dope.
month rather, which is pretty exciting. But that I'm just reading about like the things I want to research. Like I read that people, just because of like Trump being in office and things like that, some of like funding is getting cut and
Hmm.
just like prioritizing things like diversity, equity, inclusion, and maybe not necessarily just that, but things like focusing on just like marginalized populations may not be valid in
Yeah.
academia, which is like what I want to research, which is branching off to a whole other conversation that we might get into later today.
Hey, I
But
like it. I
yeah,
like it.
yeah, but excited about the PhD process, kind of concerned about the future, but
Yeah.
we'll just take it day by day. And it was my birthday Tuesday, so
Yeah, yeah. So
yeah.
everybody wish happy birthday to Omar in the chat. In the I say chat in the comment section. I want to see some happy, but I at least want to see one happy birthday by the end of the day. Whenever this video get posted. So definitely wish my man happy birthday. And I just want to say congratulate you on your PhD journey and trying to persevere through it because it's rough out here. As a
Yeah.
guy who been in academia and like 7 years now. It's rough, and you going back, and you continue in school to get your PhD, which is a long grind. If a lot of people don't understand it, like just to be a doctor in philosophy, like is definitely inspired me, and it's definitely very inspiring
Yeah.
to a lot of people around you. So keep it up. Like hope you get some of them blessings coming in soon about which PhD program you get to choose. You get to choose from the litter you interviewed with. or you might just get the one that's just perfect for you and you gonna work with it. So I'll send blessings your way, my guy, and we hope for the best.
Yeah, appreciate it. Appreciate it. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
So, with me, we us moving and you doing PhD, we don't have a running schedule or agenda, but we do have a lot of topics we gotta talk about. That happened in the past month we've been gone. So just in case people haven't been living on a rock, so we have been going through a lot of changes in this new administration. Now I can't really go into much of the reason, my personal opinion, because now I'm working at the state level. But just in the last 2 weeks alone, last 2 weeks alone, just from my perspective, at least, from DEIA has been coming on attack, funding getting cut. CDC and federal agencies are now, scrubbing their data sets from, the internet to try to comply with President, Trump's order. So if anybody haven't know, basically you're not allowed to use any terms like DEI related activities terms and all that, if it includes gender, if it includes race, if it includes disability, like anything just related to it, you can't include that in any external communications. No observations by federal agencies, as well as just in general, like you need to scrub it. And so what that does, at least from the CDC side of things, we have research published out that goes over those terms. We've now had to scrub sites that's related to it, and really also over scrub of it too, to make sure we're still in compliance, because this administration, how this administration went the first time. So how people are trying to be overcorrected, so make sure like they don't get any of their funding cut or somebody get fired. And so what has that done in the past few days? CDC has to rescind a lot of vaccine guidances. You can't look that up. There's a playbook I was looking at to do research for a class for food insecurity, the social determinants of health playbook that Biden administration instilled. We can't even do that. Like, that got rescinded. So it's a lot of good data, at least from CDC, FDA standpoint, is being taken away. Especially you got all these different respiratory viruses going around in the environment right now. We can't get published information out of it because not only the DIA ban, but we also have a ban on external communications until a political appointment views them. And RFK has not been confirmed nor denied yet, so there's no political point, at least for like HHS. So yeah, we're sitting ducks from a medical perspective, from a public health perspective. We just sitting ducks right now, trying to get information out, like good information, because a lot of people, were expecting to see information about the bird flu. You see,
Yeah,
you
yeah.
see, the good people don't want me to get this information out, but we're gonna continue it. A lot of good information about the bird flu was supposed to be released out this week in the CDC, and they can't even do that because of the order. So not only that, DEI on attack. This whole plane crash with Reagan,
Oh
like,
yeah.
first of all, shout out, not shout
Just
out, but like
the wishes
RIP.
out to them, right? Yeah.
Yeah, good wishes, condolences out to the family that got hurt by that, because I tell you, when I got home, just took a nap and woke up to that, it shocked me, because we were just in DC, literally flying through Reagan, DCA, literally last summer. So, it's really like it really touched a nerve with me on that. And then the next day there was another crash in Philadelphia about, like, I think a medical chopper. I think 6 people passed away in that incident. And so in the chaos of all of that and the tragedies within that, Trump and now his administration are now trying to, make it, more about DIA, saying like, this is if we didn't have the DIA hires, which hasn't been confirmed nor denied, the investigations are still early on. It's gonna take a few months, right, for even get some foundation of the investigations, like understand what happened. But it's just a scary time in this country. I'm worried. A lot of people worried in many different fields. I think we all knew this was going to happen, but it is still so shocking to see what we're seeing right now. I just want to get your perspective on it, and just like if you want to add on anything like what we've seen in the past few weeks, like this administration has done.
Yeah. Before I get into that though, did you, depending on what you can say and you can't say, did you want to speak more about just like the, hold on, the bird flu?
Bird flu. So the little bit of information we have right now, we don't have any data to just suggest it's starting to connect to human. It's more so it's still happening chickens and cows and flocks and stuff. It's just spreading that, and then only people who come in contact with them get the disease, and like hasn't really spread it into the community. Now that's just because we don't have data on that. Doesn't mean it necessarily is not happening. I haven't heard no sparse reports. A lot of people haven't heard no sparse reports or anything, but it is more so that is a main concern we're saying. That's why I say it like that, because just because there's no data on it now doesn't mean that it may not be happening or may not happen. Because with this particular influenza, from just like I'm not like a infectious disease expert on the side of public health. I do more policy, translate science to like stakeholders. That's my little niche in communications and YouTube, all the stuff. One thing they're worried about, at least from the experts I've known and talking in the field, there's this one mutation that they're scared it's going to get, because viruses mutate. They're always mutating every time they infect somebody or some animal or mammal, whatever. They're scared of this one mutation that it will get to a point where it start making it transmissible into humans, like COVID, or it will start mixing with the common cold and start being spread through there. And so that's why I would say right now, please get your flu vaccine. I know some of y'all feel like y'all get sick from the flu vaccine more than the actual flu. I understand that. Trust me, I did too. I was out for 2 days because I got my COVID and my flu vaccine at the same time. Yes, I'm still alive. Don't worry about it. But it's more so that is the reason why we tell people to get vaccines and stuff, why it's important. And we can talk about this all throughout. We can take this a whole hour just talk about that. But it's more so it is important for y'all to do that, because like if it gets to that point where it start mixing with the common cold, then that's when we're gonna be start being worried and talking about potential of a pandemic. And to the levels of COVID, I don't know. I can't ascertain or say. We don't have data on that. We just don't have data. We don't have case fatality rates. We don't have none like that going on because of like the executive order. So that is like why this politics and all these executive orders is so important, or like so crucial, because now we can't effectively do our jobs to understand what this bird flu is going to be. But I still say the main concern is RSV. There's a whole TB outbreak in Kansas. Please get your TB vaccine, whatever y'all need to do. As well as there was like cases of measles in Texas. So those are a lot of other public health
It's
threats y'all need to
popping
worry
off.
about.
It's popping off right now.
Bro, it's
But every
crazy.
way.
It's crazy being in politics and being a public health practitioner, but we ain't gonna talk about that. But go ahead, Omar, go ahead. That's my little thing on that.
Yeah. Yeah. I think like as of now, recently, DEI is a bit on my mind heavy, just because I mentioned the PhD programs and
Yeah.
things like that. But I think what's more, I mean, I could talk about that because that is relevant. But I think what's more like pressing for me, that I've been concerned about that's going on, is just ICE. ICE is in the
Yeah.
communities that ICE is in the communities that I work in, and it's just it's a scary and it's a heartbreaking time, and I'm really concerned for the people that I work with in the communities and the people that reside in the
Yeah.
community. And they're just going, they're going around just like unprompted. I will say that I've seen a bunch of different people on social media, kind of like all of us looking out for each other, which I think that's a really
Yeah.
good sign. And I think that's something that we need more of in different kind of like facets. But it's still like scary for me that I could be working with somebody one day, and then the next day I might not see them, and they might not be taking the ice, depending on like the community. So that's something that's been going on. Uh, in addition to like DEI and Trump blaming the crashes on a DEI hire, which is there's so many things like wrong with that. Sometimes I go back and forth. Is it even worth getting like worked up over? You know, I mean, let's just say it was a DEI hire, right?
Yeah.
What does that mean? Well, because does that mean like he's essentially saying that DEI hires? Well, we already know, right?
Yeah.
DEI hires are more, DEI is code for like black people, right? So black people are
Or
inferior,
women.
or women, or any kind of like marginalized
Yeah.
population, right? Essentially, marginalized populations uh, are not smart enough or capable enough to do things, right? Which is flying a plane. So basically, because the person was in white and wasn't flying the plane, that's why the plane crashed. And so that's kind of like, first off, saying that in the press conference and not giving proper
Wild.
is wild. That's
Mm-hmm.
wild. That's insane. Uh, and just saying, making that like connection in general is like, obviously there's so many things wrong with that. Uh, but it's scary because he can say that and people just like eat that up and like
Mm-hmm.
they think that's like a legitimate argument, right? Which is so so harmful. Uh, I'm curious to see like your feelings on that and how you think like how can that kind of connect to like masculinity a little bit.
If you talking about masculinity, I mean, I feel like there's always this anti DIA crusade for many years. Um, I wouldn't even say go back to this whenever affirmative action just got instituted. I think it's been increasing over many years. I think especially at least my time since we both grew up with Obama as president, like, I've noticed it more and more happening. I probably can't really ascertain because it probably happened in the early 2000s. I was just still a baby. But I feel like this is anti DEI crusade, especially in men, not necessarily just for women, because I'll get to that later. But I think what discerns me or makes me more upset is like there's like this crusade within men, especially black men, because we've always, felt like we've been inferior, like when it comes to like white men and all this stuff. Like every time, like I just had a conversation yesterday, like, we were talking about ICE, we were talking about all these things, like, undocumented, immigrants and stuff. One dude was like, well, I don't want no undocumented person, taking my job, like ran a white dude. I'm like, your daddy is owning the company. You want to have a job regardless. You might be
You be
just a
all
little,
right, bro.
you be all right. And I told him straight up, it was like a back and it wasn't like an argument because I can't argue with people right now. But it was like, I basically just told him, I was like, look, I've never had to worry about anybody from who was Hispanic, who Asian, who black, white, well, whatever. I never had to worry about anybody taking my job other than unqualified white men who my resume doubles every time in every space I've been in. And literally,
Talk yourself up.
no, that's why I
Yeah.
said like
Yeah,
I
yeah,
told him
yeah.
I was like we looked at resume. I was like, bro, band for band, and like, bro, my resume is double. Like band for band, literally, like my resume is like twice as long as you, but you have been in so many more spaces because your network and all this stuff, and just like systemically, like you're a white man, like you're able to get more things, you're able to get more access, and you never had to put to this goalpost. And I'm not saying like all white people don't have to struggle because majority of the country, who on poverty, who on this, who on disabilities, all this stuff is like white people, the white people that voted for Trump, but we don't talk about that. But one thing I just need to say, when it comes to at least like when I've heard from black men about anti-DIA efforts, it ain't really just with women or just like traditional masculinity. It's more so about, hey, I don't want to be a DIA hire, like, I don't want to be associated with DIA because I don't want to be seen as like I just been given this spot or whatever. And that's
Mhm.
never been what DIA has been for. Like you always had to be qualified to even be considered to be in these spots. But at the end of the day, race, they made it to where race wouldn't work against you. And that's what a lot of people keep misinterpreting about, the affirmative action, DIA, all these, like these initiatives, especially trying to get more, people who look like us into college. We're not trying to flood colleges to just random Joes off the street. Like when you come to college, you're gonna be prepared. You're gonna be ready. You're gonna be more prepared than a lot of your white counterparts, if we're gonna be honest. But we do it in ourselves in this own community. I'm glad this is Black History Month too. We're doing this too because I think there's a broader conversation we have about it.
We'll make
Like,
another episode though for Black History
yeah,
Month though.
we're gonna do this own episode. Like, trust me, you're gonna be more well production. But it's just I'm trying to make a connection. But
Yeah.
it's more so like at least from my perspective with black men, that's what's been an argument with it. And then the traditional toxic masculinity, like, oh, I don't want to work for a woman. I don't want to do this stuff like that. So that's my thing with it. I mean, that's what when it connects to toxic masculinity. I don't know if you have any more thoughts on that.
Yeah. I just had a thought while you were talking, but I lost it. But it'll come back in five
Dang.
seconds.
Okay.
Hold on. Yeah,
Do do
yeah,
do.
no.
Go ahead.
I do. Yes. So DEI does help. Uh, it does help, and it's helped me. But I do think DEI is was made by like these corporations and these
Yeah.
institutions and these white people that kind of like make it more certain white people, because
Hmm.
I don't want to, there's some good white people out there. I don't want to just lump it all together,
Yeah.
right? But it did make the like try and use DEI as like a tool to kind of like cover up what's going on. And so maybe like, so example, like diversity, equity, inclusion, like they have all these initiatives at like a college campus and things of that nature, making it more welcome for like marginalized students to like go on college campuses and feel welcome and have like programs for them to thrive in. And like I'm a product of like my home campus. I've been in programs that, you know, DI probably helped get established and have helped me thrive and be the person I'm being. But also like DI promotes a idealized campus that some of these issues don't happen, which is like not the case for like most places in the world, right? I feel like it can be, it's never like black and white or binary. I feel like it has been helpful, but it also doesn't like help core issues that are still going on, which is like racism on campus, maybe preferring like certain populations on campus over other populations on campus.
Yeah.
Uh, and still just having like harmful spaces, right? Because you can work at a company and then they can have DEI, but the
It's not
company
gonna
can
fix
be
it.
racist to you, right? It still have
Hmm.
someone still mistreat you, right? So I feel like I don't know. I go back and forth with this, but I feel like we can keep DEI, but we also need to be working towards something that's gonna get to the root, something
Hmm.
great.
I agree. No, I always tell people DIA is not the end. It's like that's just a
Yeah.
very beginning to get stuff done because a lot of companies do DIA, Target now and what other company just was sending their like DIA efforts? Facebook I know is doing Meta is doing some whack
I want
stuff.
to actually look this up.
Um while you looking it up, I know like all of these companies were sending their efforts, like DI efforts from George Floyd, just an era. That's so weird even say calling that an era because that was just 5 years ago. But from just the like
Yeah.
DIA, from those perspective, like they were sending out because it was always corporations. It's always the same thing, when people talk about Pride Month, that Target and Chick-fil-A don't care about talk about no gay people. Like they just want to get that money.
Right. Right. Right.
Yeah, did you find the companies yet?
Uh, I just read that Costco. It seems like Costco kind of took away the DEI
I thought
initiative.
Costco was the main one standing firm with it
Which companies are rolling back? Okay, that's what I want. Give me that website.
because they were the only one that was standing firm. Costco.
Okay, so we know Amazon did that.
Oh yeah, we know Bezos gonna do that shit, bro.
Lowe's, McDonald's.
Not McDonald's, bro.
That's crazy.
um,
Target, like you said, Toyota, Walmart. Uh, Apple standing by it. Okay, so I read wrong. Costco is standing firm with it.
yeah, because I was like Costco. His CEO said like, no, we finna keep this. Like, bro, like when they put it to a vote, he said, no, we rocking with this. Hey, they said if the I can't say what I need to say. I'm say employee, but like they said, if the people rocking with me, I'm rocking with them, girl. Man, and I know he was standing firm, but it's just this whole thing. I'm trying to remember back to my point I was trying to make. It's more so like all these companies have used DEIA just more for their bottom line,
Right.
and that's never going to systematically just like make change for like at least for like let's say black men or like my people, like just putting more black people in these spaces is not going to do much. But I think when it comes to just giving people more opportunity at least to get paid, to get finances and all this stuff, I think we need more of that in the short term, and then once that happens, then we can talk about the more systematic, like greater level things. Um, so yeah, definitely, I'm probably DIA. Like my job at the CDC came from a DIA trip, like literally going there and visit. And I always tell people, yeah, I'm probably DIA, but hey, okay, and shoot,
I said proud. Yeah.
I can outlap y'all any day. Like, look at my resume. I'll when the people are like, dang, I was like, you got a big resume. I thought you just knew somebody here. I was like, no, like we should.
Yeah.
I earned my stripes in college. We still earn our stripes here. Being
And this
broke
is not
too.
putting us. We're not putting down DEI, right?
Yeah, yeah,
We're not putting
yeah.
it down because, like I said, I'm a product of the Scholars Mentorship Program, even the Social Justice Graduate Program I'm in right now,
Hmm.
a bunch of other things. That wouldn't be possible partly because of DEI and like the historical movement behind it. So I'm not putting that down at all. But like Lawrence, like you said, we have to move. It's not. It doesn't end at that. It has to be moving towards something bigger.
It needs to be something more sustainable, and it's just like this is only just like rolling it back is not helping. Let's just say that. Cause a lot of people conflate whenever you roll back stuff. Like if you see stuff that's ineffective, rolling it back will help. I'm like, no, because it might create not as much progress, but like it gonna set us back for a little bit more years if we keep rolling it back. But like you still need to continuously improve it and build off of it. So yeah, DIA. I mean, this is just one topic area we just had to focus on, this week because Trump, JD, Pete Hedge, or whoever his defense, the secretary, whatever. Yeah, that press conference was wild. Like I was at work when I saw it. I was just like, yo, ain't no way.
It's sad. It's really sad.
Yeah.
And I feel like I think we moved. I think we kind of explained it about like Trump and DEI, but I think our point was like, I mean, we're products and examples of what DEI does. So it goes without saying that someone is not unqualified or not less than just because they are
Of
DEI
course.
hire or been in DEI. I think that's what like our little explanation was that. Excuse me, what that was about. Uh, Obviously, like Trump is wrong and there's no logic behind it. Uh, yeah.
Yeah, so I don't know what else happened in the next last week, whatever. Like in this administration, I feel like 2 years just happened in the past week. Like just like how much we've been set back, at least.
I just feel like I've just been hit and hit and hit and hit. It's been a lot.
I mean, the way my mom been protecting her mental health, she just shutting off the news. She said, "I can't. I refuse to watch news." And like she been watching more Lifetime movies, more Hulu Prime. I was like, we've been trying to do that for years. I'm happy for her. And so what I've been trying to do to maintain my at least my mental health is more like being in the community, like being working in spaces, working with people, getting people to understand what's going on, as well as like, if people need to vent, if I need to vent too, just being able to like be able to have that group to vent to when we need it, because these next 4 years, really 2 years in my personal opinion, because the midterms, I think people about to show up for the midterms because they finna wreck his agenda, because he barely has a good majority and he barely has a stable majority in Congress and the Senate, but you really need 2/3 of the Senate be on your side to really get legislation passed as well. So I'm interested to see how these 2 years go. It's just, yeah, I'm gonna leave it at that.
It's gonna be a lot of. I was in class last week, and we were talking about that, and we were kind of talking about mental health and like with everything going on. When my professor said it's probably it's gonna be a lot of fear mongering. Like, not to say that we shouldn't be scared of what's going on, and some of the
Yeah.
things might not come to fruition, but it's gonna be a lot of like push and pull, things trying to get passed, but like getting pushed back. So it's just gonna be a lot of fear mongering. So I think what your mom's doing honestly is really uh, smart. I think there could be like I think relying on your community too for like news and like support to know what's
Yeah.
going on. But also like keeping a balance of watching the news could be good too. Uh, but try not to like let that fear mongering take over you in a way.
Like I said, I work in facts. I work in facts at this point, and just looking at the news, I'm just be like, yeah, I can tell you heads or tails what's going to go down. So, um, but yeah, that is the Trump segment of the show. Probably won't be the last segment we have on him, but we here. What else going on in the news, current events and stuff we need to talk about? Oh, DJ Academics. Oh Lord, man, you hear about DJ Academics?
What don't I hear about him, bro? I feel like I'm reading something every day, dog.
Man, okay, so with this, I wouldn't even call him man. This I can't even say what I also want to say too. This dude, let's just leave it at that. This individual, basically, if you haven't heard in the past week, he got caught, saying some inappropriate stuff, to a kid, and pretty
Yeah.
much he was joking, but like, let's just call it what it is: grooming. Be honest, grooming, like 15-year-old kid. Basically, they were on stream playing a game or something. DJ, is streaming. Now, personally, I don't stream with kids, but neither hairs nor tails. So basically, streaming the kid, and basically they were, talking about asking like, do you got a girlfriend, whatever, like that too. Have you had, intercourse with a girl, all that? And basically, the kid was like, nah, I'm like 15. Like, what are you talking about? And basically, he was insinuating, DJ Academics was insinuating like, hey, let's change that. I'm gonna send somebody over to your house. And the kid, bravo to this kid, to his parents who recognize this in the situation, because most kids don't understand, grooming patterns, or like beware internet predators like this. Yeah, we're gonna say predator, but like it's more so, kid was just like, no, I don't feel comfortable. I don't feel comfortable doing this stuff. And DJ was just like playing off as like, oh, we're just talking to the boys, like, we're talking about just whatever. And I just want to get your thoughts before I go in on this, because I got my several thoughts on it. So what do you feel like, Omar?
Yeah, I want to say I couldn't even believe it, but based on this whole Drake thing this past summer,
Yep.
like I was disgusted, but I wasn't surprised. Yeah, I saw the video too. Like he was trying to send like women to his house, and the kid really deflected it really
Yeah.
like well. Like really, he's like, "Oh, I'm 15 years old. Like, what are you doing?" So credit to like his parents or whoever's in his life. Uh, I think DJ. I think this is a good. How do I phrase this? I think it is good that this is happening because it kind of starts like it's just weeding out the roots of a lot of predators in
Yeah.
the industry, a lot of predators in streaming. I feel like a lot of like this kind of stuff is normalized in like the streaming space, especially among like black creators. I feel like it's things like that, just predatory. I can't speak.
You good.
Just predatory behavior. A lot of like grooming is very like susceptible. Like I know like I've seen like reels of like Drake even like engaging this on like this a level like this.
Mm-hmm.
It's very like interpersonal and intimate to have like Drake in that is like I don't want to say crazy, but it's just like wow. Like so I feel like it's good that people are like on him and kind of like roasting him and kind of holding him accountable.
Yeah.
I feel like this is very prevalent in the streaming space where a lot of things are just like sexualized in nature and like bro, there's kids like even like a Kai Cenat audience, like these kids are young, like
Yeah.
getting exposed to this kind of stuff and having it normalized is like really dangerous, and that just like reinforces a lot of grooming behaviors and a lot of like predatory actions, like unfortunately. So I'm glad he got caught out. DJ Academics is like whack anyway. He hasn't done anything.
When his Warren shot Chicago or Chirac series, when that went
Yeah.
out, I don't understand how they got popular, because I was just like, y'all really fell for the grift. Do you have any more to add real quick?
Oh, nah, he is grifting. I also feel like he was or he still does, and this is like a probably another conversation we can talk to, just like people using like the black community like for profit, and even like black people in ways that like make black people look bad or perpetuate like stereotypes and things like that. And he was like definitely one of those people, especially like the war in Chicago, like you said, like those are like real, there's real stuff happening over there. People's real lives are being lost, and he definitely would, he's making a joke out of it while he's making money off of it.
Yeah. I'm glad you brought up just like this being in the streaming community, because I personally don't think it's just a streaming community. I think it's just like a whole, and I'm not just saying this happened in black men, like male groups and stuff like this too, because I'm pretty sure it happens in white men, especially when you have younger, siblings and stuff in the conversation, be like, when you talk about girls and stuff, you always have to find that boundary of just like, okay, you got a little girlfriend, that's cute, that's whatever, like that, what you gonna do? When you start talking about like sexualization, or, you're talking about, kids getting into those acts, and now you make it into like a very predatory conversation. But at least in my conversation, I've had uncles, I've had father figures and stuff, who oftentimes, would take it to a point where, like we were just talking about, oh, you got crush at school, whatever, like that too, like something harmless. And then it just be like, you look at a very much older woman walking by, and be like, dang, she fine. Like, how you feel about that, Lawrence? I'm just looking, I'm like, I'm 10 years old. What the heck am I supposed to do with that? Like,
Yeah.
for real, like, really, for real, though. Like, she old enough to be my mama. Like, what are you talking about? And
Yeah.
so it's more of those things. Like, this is a very common thing, whenever I saw it, like, I realized this, like, it was very common because, like, I've had many of those conversations growing up as a
Yeah.
child that wasn't okay. And I'm just sitting here and now I'm just like,
Yeah.
why? Like, it goes back to Boozy getting strippers for his like 13-year-old son. Like, why is it okay that we oftentimes bag on the women for like being over sexual or whatever like that too, or like exposing their bodies? But if you want to have a real conversation about it, we need to talk about like these father figures, the play uncles, and all this stuff, who oftentimes keep over sexualizing their like they nephews, they sons, they cousins and stuff. Not even just the older generation. I'm talking about even like when you get to like mid-20s and stuff, when you have a little sibling around, oftentimes they over sexualize them, like, oh, why aren't you doing this, why aren't you doing that, like you're not a
Yeah.
real man if you don't do this. Like, that is a conversation we've been needing to have, in at least in the black community, for like males in for a minute. Because every time, when you like, I have like, little cousins and stuff, I don't shoot. I just say like, you got a girlfriend? All right, cool. Just respect her, do whatever you need to do. I give him
Right.
advice on just like, how to be a good like, partner and stuff, like boyfriend, whatever. Like, it's high school stuff. Like, I don't think gonna last. But like, it's more so like I give him advice on how to do that, but I never just be like, having those type of conversations, because
Right.
there's a line. And also, as professional who do YouTube and all this stuff, I do streaming too. More on that later, because update on that. But it's more so, I never really I make it a point to never talk to kids online in an online space. If I don't know them personally or whatever, I'm not going to be seen with no under 18-year-old kid. 17 is kind of pushing it, like, okay, whatever. But 18, you got to be 18-year-old for me to have a conversation with you. Not even just like on those levels what DJ was doing. It's just general conversation to protect myself, because I don't talk to no minors. Like, when I turned 18 out of high school, if you were a freshman I had contact with or mentored or whatever, I just cut that off. I was like, look, you got to get out to me on email. We're going to talk on Zoom, whatever like that too. But you're not going to have access
Right.
to my number, because it's one of those things where it's just like, I'm not going to be in a situation where it's just like that type of stuff happens. And that's not even just saying like I'm that way. I just be chilling, do my little PS5, my little Switch over here. I'll be minding my business. But it's just more so like, I don't want to be in a situation where that happens, or be in an environment, since it's so prevalent nowadays, for that to happen.
Yeah. 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 And I don't think like you said, I don't think it should be cut off entirely, right?
Yeah,
Like Zoom, email, that's cool.
more
Because
boundaries.
I feel like boundaries. I feel like now, like more than ever, like the youth needs like not just like male role models, but role models from like every like walk
Yeah,
of life. They need people that they can align with or look up to. But I think it's so easy for things to be, conflated as like an inappropriate relationship. So I think boundaries are
hmm
important, right? Uh damn. There's a lot of things you said that I want to touch on. I'm trying to gather my thoughts. Um
I'm trying to think. What did I touch on? Oh yeah, about
just
uncles and stuff.
yeah, 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 yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
those, yeah.
That's really big. And I really didn't like make that connection until you said that's like damn, like even with me growing up, like a lot of like the father figures or like men in my life would kind of like I guess I knew this, but I guess I didn't realize the impact. Like, would really like be like, oh, yo, Omar, what you gonna do with that? Like, what are you like over sexualizing?
Yeah.
I'm like 13, 14 years old, very much over sexualizing women, and very much kind of putting like ideals of like masculinity on how much woman you get or how you treat a woman sexually, if the woman like respects you and listens to you in like a submissive, like sexist way.
Hmm.
Uh, a lot of like masculinity, and in my experience, is like growing up has been put on that. So I'm happy that you pointed that out. Uh, which like obviously like it hurts both men and women.
Yeah.
Thinking about just like the binary like heterosexual men and women that we're talking about.
Yeah.
It hurts both men and women because we mistreat women and then women are used and manipulated based on toxic masculinity and patriarchy and things like that.
Yeah. I like, even with me just going back, cuz it changed my perception on women. I had to unlearn what I learned from my, like, just the environment I've been in. Cause let's just be straight, like, I come from a family, like, we from East Texas in Dallas, and then from small town in Arkansas. So they basically from the country, like, they, old generation type stuff. And
Yeah,
so they were the generation that were just messing around, having, not saying my family was doing this, but like people we know in town, in their towns, was cheating on their wives, doing this, messing around with younger women and stuff like that too. Like when they were 40, it's so that type of talk is so common nowadays. We're noticing boundaries now. We're knowing, making sure protecting the youth. We can't have these type of talks easily. But when growing up, I had to unlearn, especially starting in college, I had to unlearn what I thought about women and stuff, because I've been so ingrained on just like, you need to have a woman, or you need to have a girlfriend. Or literally, like, even with some of the women in the family, like, oh, are you gay because you don't bring no girl around or whatever. And I'm like,
yeah, that's a big
and I'm
one.
just like, I don't bring every girl have a crush on around my mama. Like, that's one thing about me. I'm not gonna, like, if I bring you around my mama, like, that means I'm trying to be locked in, because mama don't play that. But it's more so the fact that it's so ingrained, at least, in our culture, to the point where it's just like, if you don't, like, it's simple where it's just like, why do I have to prove that I'm not gay? Why do I have to have a girlfriend or like do something with a girl to prove that I'm not gay? Or if I'm just chilling by myself, I shouldn't have to explain myself. Like, why are you always by yourself? Why are you not going on dates? Why are you not doing it? Like, are you gay? Are you by, like, what? Like, it's a conversation we always keep having to have.
Yeah,
It's funny. Like, it's like I had a good chuck about it one time last week, but it's a serious conversation we always have to have, especially when this DJ Academics thing come up, because he was just trying to play it off like, oh, we're just having guy talk or whatever. I'm like, no, that is a 15-year-old kid. This is not one
yeah,
of the boys. You're not in the club, scoping out the scene. Like, you talking to a 15-year-old kid online who has more sense than you did to recognize the situation that this is not okay. And it's just one of the things I'm glad this type of situation exposed, because typically, if there's a predator like the Me Too movement, all this stuff, it's usually like men in power, just like, messing with women, or like, exposing women. But I'm really glad this kind of like conversation got exposed, because a simple conversation, you just on a game, you just trying to talk, like, have fun, play Fortnite or whatever, and then your buddy's talking about, to a 15-year-old kid, hey, so what you doing tonight with your with this older woman or something. Like, I'm in a bad sense, I hate this happened. I'm glad the kid is okay, first of all,
yeah,
but it's more so I'm glad this stuff got recorded and got leaked out, and hopefully it leads to more accountability on him. I don't think he's gonna be totally canceled, because DJ Academic's been doing something. He been off the walls, like, since this whole red pill talk. But at the end of the day, it's just like, I'm glad we're having a broader conversation about this.
right. And I think it shows that like you said, like uh, it happens so simple. Like you can be like you said on the game with your friends, and this conversations like this come up all the time. But I do think there is like a power difference. There is a power difference between academics and like this kid, and I feel like there's probably so many times this happened that we don't see, and that the power difference plays a part in like the kids eventually like uh succumbing to whatever happens. Uh, I think also like there's like 9 other men in that chat. I think we have to start
Yeah.
holding each other. We need to hold each other accountable. Because if we're not holding each other accountable, we're complicit to all this stuff that's going on.
Like nine other dudes that started. I think people two of them was egging him on. I think too. Like he was like,
Crazy.
yeah. I was just like, bro, like none of y'all didn't have the common sense to just be like, okay, maybe I need to chill out. Maybe we should just cut the conversation or like try to divert the conversation. Then after the fact, you don't have to expose them online. Just be like, hey, yo, that's not okay. You need to chill out. Like, what are
Yeah.
you doing? But yeah, I'm DJ Academics. I don't know how them. I don't know how Drake got canceled before Academics because that War and Chirac series by itself, that should have been a red flag to many people.
Yeah.
Um,
What do you think? What do you think is gonna? How can men hold each other accountable? How can we start doing that?
I mean, just
Or are
understand.
we doing that?
I say just understand like when the guy talk ends, like you I guess having that boundary, just like yeah, we're kiki kaha, whatever, like whatever. But when some shit happens and the guy talk ends, and we need to have a serious conversation about this, like no holds bar. Don't try to hold it the next day. Like you need to not address it necessarily right there, but address it at some point, and have like on the side. I've never been one to just be like let's just hash it out in front of public because I don't put my business in front of other people, but. I'm more sort of the person just like, okay, stuff happens, divert the conversation, and then once everything ends on the side, like, hey, that shit was not okay. We ain't gonna do that. We ain't doing that again. I think we need to start doing more of that and just like also not deconstructing this whole myth of like if I had to hold my boys accountable, then I'm acting like a I can't say the word really. BITCH, you know what I'm saying? Female dog. Like,
Yeah.
like we need to get rid of that toxic masculinity part of like our society that we're too scared to hold our own boys accountable just off the fact that, you don't want to be seen less than the group or you don't want to be like ostracized. Let's say that ostracized. And if you are ostracized, they're not your real friends. Let's just be honest with that. But at the end of the day, it's more so having more conversations in private and just be like, hey, we cannot let that slide again. If you do that again, I can't be your boy no more. So that's what I think how to hold men accountable. That's my personal experience.
Yeah, that I have another topic we can talk about too that
Oh,
I
my bad.
think
My
is
bad.
a good. No, it's about that. I think it's a good thing we can speak about. I don't know how much time you got, but
I got to 12, so just let me know.
oh yeah, it's 12 for me right now. We can do like so. I guess it's 11:45 for you. We can go till there,
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah.
give or take. But when you bring that up, that makes me think of like cancel culture and
Man, yeah.
how do we go about like how do we go about like cancel culture? Like what's something you can cancel somebody for? Should we even have cancel culture? Because then we're like throwing people out of society, or should we even like like with men? Like I guess this can be like a good kind of transition to the thing I was gonna bring up in like cancel culture. So I probably can't say too much because of like HIPAA and confidentiality.
Okay, that's
But at
fine.
my job, I run like a group that's primarily men, and so I brought up people were coming there a little agitated, a little like angry. And so I like gave space to that. And I was like, okay, like why are you angry now? And he's like, oh, I just like I left like my wife's house and I'm like angry. She like goes always on the phone texting somebody. Uh and then I opened the space and we started talking about just like relationships and things like that. And it was really like sad and angering to like see and hear that
Mm-hmm.
a lot of men had very like sexist and misogynistic views like towards women, um, which is not surprising, but it's
Yeah.
still like upsetting to hear about how like women like are only good in traditional roles.
Oh.
Like men who are like I'm the youngest one in the room like running this
Oh,
group.
dang.
These are men that are like 27, 40s, 50 years old that are saying this.
Okay. So there's two questions on play. So as men, where do you get these type of like ideas or like feelings from? And then kind of like
Yeah,
also like how do we best have hold people accountable without trying to have cancel culture come into it?
right.
Okay. So the first question is I've always say like I think men I think we traditionally, like, we've always tried to have like the men stay with the men and the boys stay with the men, have them like lean on them, and then have the women go with the girls and have them lean on them as we're growing up. Me, I grew up in more so of a situation where like I had maybe a dad, I had uncles and stuff, but like took more after my mom and a lot of like the women in my family because I was around them more.
Yeah.
And so I've grown up with a healthy example of like black women, like strong black women, being able to take care of themselves, do whatever they need to do, but also still being that traditional role of just like, okay, I'm gonna help my husband out, I'm gonna cook for their wife, whatever like that too. But they still have their own individual life and get stuff done. So when it comes to just like, men, a lot of men don't grow up like that. They either stay with just guys or whatever, may have one a few friends who are women, but it's also just like most of the women, they always have this perception like I can't be with them unless I'm like dating them and stuff. Like I never agree with that, and I'm gonna tell my son if I have a son, I'm like, look, you can have friends who are women. I've hung around women most of my time in high school, and while a lot of people look like, oh, you gay, or like why are you doing this, or why are you not hanging with boys or whatever, I'm like, hey, I can still, when my wife, like I get a wife at one point, at some point in my life, I know how to treat her better than how you can treat her better because you hang around your boys all day. Y'all be out here like looking at women derrieres and stuff. And it's just to a point where it's just, you don't not even looking at women as just like humans. It's like you're looking at them at objects. Cause oftentimes we're in that, silo, or we're in that echo chamber just being around other men and just being around just locker room talk. And so I think that's part of like what that conversation you had probably like,
Yeah.
and just be real, like, not be real, but if you can't release this information, don't do it. I'm not gonna get you fired or anything, but more so, do you feel like the men in your group, they never really had any like other meaningful relationship with women, just friendship, but like outside of just relationship or anything?
Uh, well, some of them do have a lot of different relationships with women. Uh, whether it's like meaningful or like healthy. I think most of it like may not be. I can't speak in that 100%.
Yeah.
Uh, but yeah, no, I know some of them have relationships with women, but I don't know like the details about it. But I still you could definitely be in like relationships with like women, uh, not necessarily like physically like abusive or anything, but still like hold like these kind of views, and it can still be damaging. And just like thinking about like if there's any like gay or like trans men in the room, and or maybe like their views on like gay and trans men, and it's probably not like the best either.
Yeah.
So it's like, damn, like I mean, I think we both know how like men are and how we got to this point, but it's like
Yeah.
seeing it play out is like it's a big issue, bro.
It's
Like
a
it's
little bit
hard
of
to,
slavery.
yeah.
At least for black men, white men, they got no excuse. It's a little bit of slavery. It's a little bit of just like discrimination on our part, and not on our part, discrimination on us. Throughout the years, and then it's more this idea of just like now when I'm bringing up the talk, we talking about DEIA. While I feel like a lot of black men in the spaces I've been are so against that, like of trying to be called a DEI hire or like going out to DEIA programs, is because they don't want to be looked down by white society in many ways of just being like, oh, you just a DEI hire, you just another like, you just like another like slave off the plantation, whatever, mentality. And so that's why they're so hesitant. They like, and be honest with you, a lot of black men didn't vote for Kamala. I knew a few black men in my life that didn't vote. They didn't vote in general, but like they were just like they hated Trump, but it was more so they hated Kamala enough to just be like their common sense got canceled out. So we ain't gonna talk about that. But it's more so of just like I feel like I said, men, we're so used to just growing, just like being used in the mindset that we can only be around men growing up, or like we gravitate towards men, like and we only see as like girls when growing up as like, oh, she got cooties, like, oh, I don't want to be with her, like you just see her as like dating, but like you don't see her as like an actual friend. And so that's when you don't get that perspective unless you have a mother who's heavily involved with your life. You don't get that perspective, or a mother figure, I should say that. and basically you just go throughout like you just think these ideas about like oh how men are more superior, like how men are should be in these specific roles and all this stuff, and not really just think about okay maybe let me get enough perspective, let me get their perspective on this, because I know a lot of women like I most of my bosses in the past 3 years when I'm moving around going to different places have been women. They are badasses, like they kick
Yeah.
butt, they kick ass, like they literally kick ass at the job, they outwork all the men at the job and all this stuff, but they get less of the praise because women, they're just women, like, and it's sad because like I always tell them like I always give them presents, I always give them stuff like hey thank you for so much for this so much transformational experience, because one, I rarely have any like black male mentors in any roles I've been in professionally, and two,
Right.
I've had less of like actual healthy men at my jobs and stuff who wasn't gossiping, who wasn't berating other people, not even just women, just having power trips all day with other men too. Like and like a lot of times when I have like my bosses who are women, they be about they stuff and just keep it moving. And many men lose that perspective because of just like sex and gender.
Yeah. 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 Women, like you said, they're badasses and they're locking it down. And I think, yeah, men. I think that's one issue with it, that there's not a lot of like diversity in terms of like what men are like exposed to, who they hang out with, and like their upbringing and things like that in education. I also feel like taking it off of the women, like going back to what we said earlier, like as men, we need to like hold each other
Yeah.
accountable. Like we can't just put it all on like women or other like marginalized people. Like we need to do that work ourselves, and we need to do our own research, and we need to heal and hold ourselves accountable and hold each other accountable, because that's just part of the work. We have to
Hmm.
do it ourselves. It can't just you can't just have someone just going out and like doing it for you.
Yeah, I mean, it takes a village. Like I said, it takes a village to raise a child. It takes a village to unwork a child, like the years a child had to unlearn
Yeah.
because of just like the environment they've been in. So I agree with you. Now to hold these spaces about canceling, I've always never been a fan of cancel culture, especially when this whole red pill thing came up. And that's not to say that I don't think the messages are not shouldn't be canceled. Like I think the messages they bring out should be canceled. We should be stopping saying these messages. But if we just cancel the individuals in the groups, unless they just really toxic, like Fresh and Fit, no saving. But more so like like cancel culture has become more of a trend. We ostracize people, we just kick them out. But like we don't really just build that but what really needs to be done, we need to build that bridge in that space to be able to be like hey we need to like unwork what you're doing, whatever like that too. Now if it's
Right.
like predators or like crimes are committed, or if it's just like too toxic to the point where it's just like it's unsavable, Fresh and
Yeah.
Fit, who else in the space, Andrew Tate, obviously we can't work on that. Like I'm okay with just being canceled, all this stuff, but if it's just stuff like
Yeah.
just spewing out different messages or just spewing out different things, spewing out terrible talking points, it's more so like okay, I'm gonna cancel what you're saying. Here's the reason why. Get some evidence based off of that, facts over feelings, and basically then you just undo the work and be like, hey, I'm not going to cancel you, but we need to work on what you got going on right now. And like, we build space for that. I think that's the best way, to do it, because like cancel culture, like has turned into just like, which is good. I think cancel culture like has been served its purpose when it needed to serve its purpose. Cause in Me Too and all this stuff, like we need to get those predators canceled, get them out. Like Bill Cosby, Harvey Weinstein. Now we're seeing with Diddy and, hopefully with DJ Academics and all these and Drake, hold them accountable and kick them out, because we don't have no rooms for predators or pedophiles. But what we need to do now, you talking about regular smuggler Joes who are just like spewing out like hate, or just not, I wouldn't say just hate, but more so spewing out just like ignorant stuff. That's when we need to really just call out and just build more community.
Yeah. Yeah. And I think rehabilitation too. Like, what does that look like for people who are uh, on the receiving end of being canceled or are saying just some crazy stuff?
Yep.
Yeah.
So yeah, I agree. Is there anything else you want to talk about, or
One thing that I feel like we can say for like the Black History Month, uh, talking about like Drake and Diddy and Academics.
Man, that we need to have a whole
But I
yo.
feel like what they did is like atrocious, right? Like it's allegedly for Drake, but I there's evidence of Drake doing that. So I'm not even.
Yeah,
We're just gonna loop him
we're
up.
not gonna
Drake,
cap. We're not gonna cap, yo.
right? Drake, Diddy, R. Kelly, Academics, whoever. I feel like what they've done is atrocious. It's bad, but I feel like people like the white men who have done similar things, like
Yo,
Jeffrey Epstein, like it's not as like
bad.
right, like black community, like these people are more. It's more accessible and it's more readily like scrutinized compared to like white men doing similar crimes. You know what I mean?
Yeah, I get you.
Yeah. That
Nah,
could probably be what are you gonna say?
no, that was the same thing. Me and my mom, we had this conversation a few days, like not a few. I think it's a few months ago. I keep saying a few days. A few months ago, because when this whole Diddy thing happened, and I was just saying like, dang, like how do y'all not realize this? Like, bro, like, because you say that stuff like, no, it ain't no part like a Diddy party, and you can see the audience
That's
reaction.
crazy.
You can't say that stuff nowadays without getting exposed. So I don't understand what going on. It's a whole nother generation with my parents and stuff. They boomers and millennials didn't care either. It's a Gen Zers right now with who holding down the planet, because Gen Alpha. I don't want to talk about Gen Alpha, but I think what a lot of people don't realize is that there's a lot of racialized tendencies when we talk about crime and justice. Even when it comes to like predators, like being a predator is a crime. Like that is a one crime I would say straight up. You cannot explain. You cannot work away. Like kids are off limits. And not even just kids, you doing stuff without consent, unconsensual stuff. Like it's not. I would never agree with that or try to like justify anything with it. But I think there's oftentimes, like you said, there's oftentimes a different reaction when a black man does it to like a white man does it. Because let's be honest, shit like was crazy when Harvey Weinstein got exposed. Like women were out there in droves, were like making sure he was taken out. But when stuff happened with Diddy, with R. Kelly, and all this stuff, I felt like not only the punishment is going to be harder, justice system will look at them harder, but I feel like there's so much a reaction from the black community, like, oh, you're trying to bring a black man down, you're trying to bring a black man down, like, no, 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 what you doing? And and I'm just like, bro, you got this man has been doing hideous
Horrific
stuff for
things. Yeah.
years, bro. Documented,
There is a
like,
lot of comedy around it too, though,
yeah,
compared to like other
yeah.
cases, which is interesting.
Like the comedy around it, like is insane to me.
Yeah.
Especially how Bill Cosby got exposed, because he got exposed at a comedy show, and that's how all that stuff unraveled. And so it's more so like it's a deeper conversation we need to have. We can probably have for Black History Month. I think it's an appropriate one, especially in the context of Diddy and like Drake and all this stuff in the past year, because we need to have a conversation that we need to, like, at least with black men, especially, like I've heard in stories, like trying to somewhat say like, man, okay, yeah, but like, why is Harvey Weinstein getting it? I was like, okay, well, we ain't worried about Harvey Weinstein. Like, I agree with you to a certain extent. Like, he needs to be punished too. But it's also just like, we need to stop just making that the first thing we come out of our mouth when we talk about, allegations, because it goes more into the play that we don't believe women, or we just be like, oh, like she might be lying, why is she doing it now, like why she didn't do it when it first happened, when you don't understand the power dynamics, we don't understand a time different era we're in, where now this stuff is more frowned upon than what happened back in the day. And it's just more so we need to do a better job as like men to really just call this type of behavior, because like I said, it don't affect just women, it affect men as well. Like this patriarchy affects both sides of the aisle,
Right. Right. Right.
But yeah. But other than that, I have nothing else to say today. We'll probably have a better topic like for Black History Month probably soon.
Yeah. No, I feel like this is a good episode. Pretty long too. I think an hour and 20 minutes, which is good.
That's
It's kind of where
fine.
we wanna hit that.
Yeah, keep it interesting. For everybody noticing, this will be uploaded on YouTube, Spotify, all that good stuff. Also, too, we're gonna be breaking down more on YouTube to different sections, because I know we talked about like Trump, we talk about DJ Academics, and we
Yeah.
talk about general, holding them accountable and Diddy, all this stuff like that too. So
Yeah.
definitely, we're gonna be like breaking this down in sections. So if you don't want to listen to us for an hour and a half, you can do it bite-sized bits, and listen to the parts you want to. But other than that, anything else to sign out to the viewers, Omar?
Nah, I guess just closing messages. Just I think this is something we should say in the beginning, but this is just our thoughts. Like this is like, you know, like we're not preaching, we're just talking, and we're human
Yeah.
at the end of the day. So we're just at the end of the day, we're just sharing our thoughts, and we're willing to have open dialogue, whether you agree, disagree. I want to have more like conversations about it. This is, I think, part of masculinity is about, or just part of like, building relationships is about just being in conflict and being challenged. Uh,
Mhm.
so we're human, but keeping that message at the end of the day. Proud of Lawrence, proud of myself. We're here, we're working, we're doing our thing, healing, trying to just get through the day, and we're surviving. So I hope all you are hopeful. All of you can stay hopeful, stay joyful, and just do the best you can every day.
Yeah, yeah. My closing message is to the Afro and Afro on both of us. We both out here struggle out. No, I'm just kidding. I'm just kidding. No, but on a for real note though, yeah, definitely. In these times, especially what made me want to come back and go back into public service while still being in school. I'm in my last semester. I could have just sat at home and just be like, we just gonna get money and just like in the semester. But I took this program on and working the ledge because it's more so when I'm thinking about the future, like kids, grandkids and all this stuff. If the planet's still here after that, it's more so to the fact that when the world was turned to ash, both figuratively and literally, what was I doing to like at least not try to like add on to it, like try to combat it? And I can tell my kids like I did this, I did that, like I was like here, and lead by example, because I can't just sit at home and just be mad about what happened in November. I can't just sit at home about all these executive orders be happening if I don't have. And I have a lot of opportunities that most people don't have to be able to just like make a difference. And so that's why I'm proud of you going your PhD program, because not a
Yeah,
lot of people have the ability to go to PhDs or get doctors and like study that stuff. And with me, I'm happy to be here because not many people have opportunities to get flown out and actually serve like the public, albeit we still don't get paid a lot. But
yeah.
we broke over here. Ramen noodles in the background right now, but
Oh,
it's more so to the fact that right now we need people to more step up, and not only just step up like do big stuff like what we're doing, but it's more so just like being in the community, be lean in the community, spread information, and just get this out. So definitely, I'm happy you're still gonna try and continue to do this all throughout the 4 months. It's gonna be hard, but if you try to keep on schedule, I'm happy to do it. So, um, but with that being said, thank y'all for watching this. If you comment happy birthday, Omar, happy belated birthday, all this stuff. I better see one comment and say I better see one
just one
comment.
comment, please. One comment.
I barely see one comment, or we cancel the podcast. No, I'm kidding. But
Yeah.
definitely reach back out. We just got the link tree ready on Instagram, so if you follow us on Instagram, you can actually go down our link tree and get into the Discord. It's linked there, as well as going to the YouTube channel and the Spotify. So definitely all your links in one place on the Instagram. So please, 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 I implore you to go look at it, go follow us on platforms, and
Let me promote this real quick.
yeah, promote it. Or promoting the link or what?
I'm just gonna post on Instagram.
Oh yeah. Promote the link. Yeah, because we need to get more stuff going, because this is a movement. We try and get them going, and try to more so build a community, just like support, because we gonna need it these next 4 years. I'm gonna say that. But with that being said, y'all have a wonderful day. Stay blessed. Stay happy. Reach out, and y'all peace out. Peace out.
Peace out.